Hello, this is a tutorial about monarch gears. I decided to do this tutorial because I believe that the monarch gears are one of the most complex aspects of a game and yet one of the most important aspects of the game, and many players don't understand how they work exactly. Even advanced players don't know all the tricks about it, and even myself, I might be missing some of the stuff. But without further delay, let's start immediately with the monarch gear. So you click on your avatar to see the monarch gears. There are 6 kinds of them. You already know that. So this is for attack. This is for HP. This is for defense. This is for reducing timers in your city for researching, building, crafting, etc. etc. This applies buffs to your marshes, so march speed to monsters, or troop load, or march speed in general, or march capacity. And the last one applies to production in the city or gathering resources from the map. So I will start with the simplest thing. Most of you already know it, but I will try to start from there as I said, because it's the simplest thing and it's the easiest concept to grasp. So let's go back to the city and let's start. Let's say, for example, okay, wait a minute, I need to stop this. For example, I need to speed this up. Okay, so and I need that's enough. So let's say, for example, I want to level up a building. So I click on upgrade. Let me get some resources. Um, I already have those ones. Upgrade this and this. I'll need some extra resources. Okay, so if I want to upgrade this, as you can see, it will take 8 days and 21 hours. So if I go to my monarch gears and change it to construction speed, it will give me a boost to that speed. And now it will only take 7 days and 28 hours. So I click upgrade, and now a timer has started over the building with 7 days and 21 hours. Now what we must understand is that most timers in the game are fixed, which means once they start they never change again. So for example, if I go now back to my monarch gear and change this to, for example, training speed, and I come back to my building, it's still 7 days and 21 hours. It will not change once the timer has started. So now, for example, I can go back to my training and let me change it before. Let's say I put it back to building construction speed. So now if I'm about to train troops, for example, it will take me, well, I don't have resources, but doesn't matter. It will take me 19 minutes for this much troops to be trained. So 19 minutes and 6 seconds. So now if I go and put the training speed gear and I go back, it will take me 17 minutes instead of 9 seconds. So if I click train, you will see that the 17 seconds has started, and here it didn't change. It is still 7 days and 21 hours. So timers, once they start, they never change again, which means that every time I'm about to do an action in the city, whether I'm going to research or build a building or craft equipment or train troops or heal or build traps, what I have to do is go first to the monarch gears, set the proper gear, and then go do the action. And once the timer has started, I can change it as I want. It will not change a thing. So for example, here I have now 16 minutes. If I change it to anything else, it won't change. It's still 16 minutes, and here it is still 7 days and 21 hours. It hasn't changed. So I can change this gear every time I'm about to make an action. It doesn't have to remain constant all the time. It doesn't have to remain in place for the effect for the effect to happen. So I can change it as much as I want as soon as the timer has started. So this is the most simple and the most obvious part, and I believe that most of the players already know that they can switch those gears to achieve lower times for actions inside the city. So, this thing about timers is about all timers in the game. Everything that has a timer in the game, once the timer has started, it never changes. This means that everything that affects time in the game, a timer in the game, is permanent. So you can switch the gears as much as you like. So this also applies for gathering speed from the map resources. So for example, if I go to the map, so here we are on the map. I wait for it to load. Okay, so for example, let's suppose I want to gather from this tile. So normally it would take my General Lucy with a full march 4 hours and 1 minute to clear the tile. So now if I go here and I set this to or gathering speed and I go back here, it will only take her 3 hours and 44 or let's say 45 minutes to clear the tile, so it will take her less time. So it is important first to understand that these 4 apply to gathering resources on the map, and these 4 apply to producing resources in the city. So what we are interested about right now are these 4. So I set it back to resource production in the city. So as I said, if I want to gather from this spot, normally it would take Lucy 4 hours and 1 minute. So I go and set it to our gathering speed, and it will take her 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So I send, and I wait for her to reach the tile. And that's it. It's 3 hours and 45 seconds. Now this timer has started, so I'm not forced to keep the gear in place. So I can go and set it back to increase the ore production in the city, and if I go back to my timer, it's still 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And when this timer would have elapsed, I would have finished gathering all the resources in this tile. So the gear doesn't have to remain in place. I can change it back to boost production in the city. So now let's suppose I want to gather from this tile also. So it would take Legion 1 hour and 22 minutes to clear the tile. So I set this gear to lumber gathering speed, and now it would only take him 1 hour and 16 minutes to clear the tile. So there is something else that is important to understand, but these timers can be applied right before entering the tile. These boosts to time can be applied right before entering the tile. They do not need to apply it when you leave the city. So for example, if I have for example, many type of resources that I want to gather. Let's say I want to gather this and this, along with this, and maybe, no, I only have three marches. So let's say this and this, 11, 8, and this stone one. So it would take him, I'll start with this one. It will take Lucy 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I can start right away. And before she arrives at the tile, I switch this. Oh, it's already a ramper, so it doesn't matter. I'll try it with the next one. So I send Lee Jing. Normally it will take him 3 hours and 54 minutes. But before he arrives to the tile, I change it to our gathering speed. So it was 3 hours and 55, and now it's 3 hours and 38. So I can apply it while I'm moving there. And I could do the same for this. So now let's understand why this is important. Let's return them, all of them. Suppose the tiles are a bit away, like for example these three. So if I want to change the gear, normally I will have to wait 30 seconds for the first one to arrive and then change the gear and wait for the 43 more seconds and change again the gear and then wait 46 seconds and change again the gear. But I don't have to do that. I can send all marches at the same time. So I send a march here. I send the other one here. And since these two tiles are very close, I will wait a little bit, just a few seconds. You will understand why later. And now I can send the third march here. And now this march is about to arrive, so I go fast and change this to, where is it, stone gathering speed. And it has applied. Well, I didn't check for the timer, but you can take my word for it. The timer has been reduced. Now this one is about to arrive to food, so I go and change into food production. And the timer has been reduced. You can take my word for it. You can try it yourself. I didn't check for the timers before I send because it must be done very fast. And now I go again and change to or gathering speed, and the effect will take place as soon as I enter the mine. The timer will be reduced. So now I have reduced the timer of the three of them, and I didn't have to wait for the first to arrive to change and wait the second for the second to arrive and change. No, I can send all marches at the same time, and as they are about to enter the tile, I can go ahead and change this buffs accordingly. And the reason why I waited a little bit before sending the third march is because these two tiles are nearly next to each other, actually. So if I set the marches at the same time, they would have entered the tile with 1 or 2 seconds difference, and that would have not allowed me enough time to go to the monarch gear and change it. So I let like 10 seconds before this march and this one. So when this is about to enter the tile, I go and set it to foot gathering speed, and when this enters the tiles, it leaves me 10 seconds to go again and change the gear to ore gathering speed. So generally when the tiles are close together, I always make sure to leave at least 5 seconds between the troops reaching the tiles. So 5 seconds, if you are fast enough, it should allow you to change the gear right in time. So I hope it is clear. This gathering speed boosts take effect as you enter the tile. You don't need to apply them when you leave the city. You can apply them just before entering the tile, and they will take effect and will they remain in place for the whole duration of the gathering, even if you change it to something else. And generally, once you have all your troops have started gathering, you want to change it back to production in the city to increase the production in the city, because unlike governing speed, unlike governing resources from tiles, resource production in the city is a continuous thing. It doesn't have a definite timer. It happens all the time, and as a consequence, you cannot do the same trick we have done with the tiles. There is no point in time where you need sorry, something fell. So there is no point in time where you need uh, to pick this to speed up things or to increase things. This cannot happen because the timer is continuous. There is no definite timer for these actions. So this also implies that you cannot apply, take or exploit these four at the same time. No, you will have to choose one of them, and as long as this, for example, if I choose ore production, only ore production will be boosted in the city, and the 3 hours will not be boosted, and it will be boosted as long as this is set on ore production. So if I change it to stone production will be boosted, and ore production will no longer be boosted. So for these 4 you have to choose, you have no other choice, unlike these 4s that you can exploit at the same you can take advantage of them at the same time altogether. So I think this concludes the first part of this tutorial. It's actually quite of the most simple things to understand. I will make another part to explain how to take advantage of these 4. These 4 are quite complex, and you need to understand. They need a video on their own to be understandable. So stay tuned for the next video, which will happen very soon, if not right now.